This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
Well, that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
And a very warm welcome to the Bar Stewards Enquiry Weekend Podcast. We've got the Shergar Cup, or is it a race meeting named after the great horse that really doesn't deserve that kind of status? With me tonight to discuss the racing tomorrow and some interesting topics beforehand are John Lang, always, of John Joe's Blogspot, and Bickley. Evening, John. And Bickley 14 and Andy Richmond, two expert panelists, great TV career, racing TV pundit. Andy Richmond is joining us tonight as well. Andy, have you had a good week? Did you enjoy the fair this week on offer? Or
I think the fair, if I'm being kind, I think the fair this week on offer has been moderate, but we always get that fallow period between York and, between Goodwood and York, don't we? So you can take what you got. Yeah, it's not been a bad week. It's been some mild interest, but as usual, coping with the ever-changing landscape on the ground front. I seem to spend my time watching. I seem to head more in a weather forecast than I do in a form book these days.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. I find myself as well, every day, literally double checking different forecasts. I've got Dark Skies app. I look at Met Office. I look at different. That's all you seem to be doing because I mean, let's be right. I mean, these Clarks are. I don't know what is behind this. Michael Prosser, 8mm on at Newmarket Tuesday and Wednesday, knowing full well, and I've had the forecast all week, and it was literally 80%, 90% chances of rain Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, thunderstorms possible, etc., and he's sticking 8mm on. I mean, either he's got better forecasts than the rest of us, and I notice he's possibly got away with it today, but I mean, where is this leading for punters?
Anybody's guess, isn't it? Really, I mean, you can't have a bet under these circumstances. It's just awful.
I mean, also, John. I mean, obviously, I look at the BHA site every day, and Andrew Cooper, who obviously has been in for some criticism of late, and obviously Andy mentioned on a previous show that he was just doing it for ITV, for the going forecast, Well, I couldn't believe that he was right. Everyone else is updated at 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m., on the day of the racing, and Andrew Cooper, 8:50 a.m. update. I mean, it's just what does he not get up 8:50 a.m.? I mean, it's like degenerate teenagers. What do you think, Andy?
Well, that was a particularly disappointing incident, I think, and we're seeing it more and more. My main concern is how quickly the ground changes these days, and you can only draw one conclusion, and it's the excess watering that's gone on. Because, here we are today. I live, 10 miles from Haydock, and yes, we've had some heavy downpours, and we might not have had all the rain that Haydock have had, and they might sometimes get more than that. And some of the downpours have been heavy. But this morning, the going was given as good to firm at Haydock. They've had 22 mils of rain, and we're already on to 7 with 8 non-runners on tomorrow's card. Now, that's a separate issue, 48-hour decks and et cetera. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't want to lose them. But 22 millimetres of rain between 7 a.m. and 4:30, and it's changed already to soft, and I reckon we could be heavy by tonight. It doesn't seem right. Pontefract in the week, that went very quickly. Thirst today, very quick again, changes. And, I feel sorry for people who are We're quite lucky that we're probably most of us three are sitting around watching the racing most days. And can react to ground changes. But if you're the man in the betting shop who's had his 50p Yankee in the morning and expecting good to firm, then you're absolutely shot to pieces on lots of occasions these days. I just ground is a huge issue at the moment for me.
Yeah, I mean, that is 100% correct. And I mean, John, I was going to say to you that, how do punters, again, the last to be thought of, cope with this? I mean, how can you make your bets? Say, like some people do it before they go to work. Like most people that bet on racing will probably have a 9 to 5 job. Monday to Friday. They probably make lucky 15s out, whatever. How can they operate when you're getting like even Thirst today, good to soft? The first race was 6.5 seconds slow. Where's the good in that?
If punters have a shred of sense, the way that they will operate is that they will cease to operate until one of these shit apes at the BHA actually puts their arms around this and deals with it. This is a basic fundamental of this sport, getting the ground right, turf management. And they are all over the place, and not one person at the BHA wants to do anything about it or rock the boat. How some of these people are still in jobs is beyond me. I cannot for the life of me fathom how people can continually over watercourses produce misleading going reports and forecasts that are backed up by times after races that show that these forecasts and reports are misleading, and not one clerk has been censured for anything ever. By my reckoning, we've had about 4, maybe 5 days racing on genuine quick ground this flat season.
Yeah.
And that is appalling. Nothing but.
Yeah, totally concur. It's a massive frustration of mine. And clerks these days seem to, it's as if like they've got they're on a power trip with the water. It's like, well, we need to stick some down. There's not been any rain for a week, so we need to stick some down. It literally is. Well, what happens if rain falls? It's kind of weird. I've not been in a time like this. It's getting worse and worse, as Nick Davies pointed out with his going sticks 10 years ago compared to the going sticks now at, say, Ascot. And you even tweeted, John, this week about 6.6 on the round course at Ascot, given as good. I mean, that's just it's aberrant.
It's utter cobblers. I mean, racing at the minute should carry a wealth warning. Anybody with any sense shouldn't be playing on this rubbish. It's as simple as that. And, let them rot. They deserve to rot for running this sport into the ground. It is beyond disgusting.
I mean, Andy, this is a thing though, like for punters. So if you're coming into the sport, remember the old Clive Holt days with Fine Form as your guide, and you got sold the dream that you could win money, betting for a living. You could win money betting on horses, and have a good crack basically at trying to win money. Bookmakers won't take bets. It's hard to get on. If you show any kind of form, you get banned. Everything around I see around the sport, it's literally going down the ground model. We're starting at 1 p.m. in the summer. When did we ever start at 1 p.m.? When's that crept in? It used to be 2 p.m. until, and how long is it going to be before we start at 10 a.m. in the morning and finish at 9 p.m. at night? It's going to keep creeping in by stealth, I believe.
Well, my thought on that early start is that it's almost, and I was saying to someone about this the other day, it's almost to reduce your time, certainly in the summer, to even study racing.
Yeah.
To study the form, because if you think if you are punting throughout cards or trading, whatever you do, betting trading, whatever. It takes many forms these days. There is more than one way to skin a cat than just having a whatever you have, win or each way. But if you are doing that, then you're playing till what, 8 o'clock, 8:30 at night, 9 o'clock in some cases in high summer. Sure. When have you got time, especially with the amount of racing there is, when have you got time to even start looking in the form book? And does this take us down the route of why we're trying to dumb down racing all the time? And every single, I don't know what it is. Lots of sports are trying to dumb themselves down at the moment. Why? I don't get it. Isn't that the beauty of sport, is that you actually have some, you find out about a sport. And yes, I realise some of the terminology is in some cases archaic and a little bit old, but you find out about things. But of course, that's the instant culture these days, isn't it? Everything wants everything on a plate, done nice and easy, and you can end up ruining it. Now, just to sort of change sport, I'm not against this 100 thing of cricket. I'm a massive cricket fan. I love Test cricket. I like the shorter form of the game. But there, we've tried to dumb a game down. I confused myself the other night because it's like 5 balls is an hour and over, and you can bowl two consecutive what are deemed to be overs because they're only 5 balls now. So you're going to get people who you're trying to introduce people to that sport. So when they do come to watch a T20, a one-day international, or even God help us, Test cricket, they're going to be thinking. You're going to have kids thinking, why is it 6 balls? And now why can the bowler only bowl from one end and then has to wait and change? You've completely screwed the game. I get it's exciting and everything, but dumbing down stuff just is sort of beyond me, and that's the route they've gone down with some of the racing stuff as well. And everything has to have music after it. I mean, let's concentrate. I saw a really excellent tweet today from one of our listeners saying, let's concentrate. Let's sell the product. It's a great day out without all the stuff around it. Sell it as a day at the races.
Yeah. I mean, it comes back to the thing John said a while ago on it, and racing doesn't believe in its own product, and I think cricket's probably the same. It doesn't believe in the original product, and that's why it has to introduce gimmicks. And John, I mean, this is something that to me is fundamentally wrong, because as we all grew up coming into the sport, you went to the races, you got excited by seeing the horses in the paddock. You looked at them in awe, really, a lot, especially at the good meetings, especially at York. I can remember summers in York and seeing the international stakes runners and seeing how fantastic some of them looked. And then you went to the bookmaker's ring and you thought, oh, look at this, I can win money from betting on a horse to win. And it was selling the dream. Everything about it was the product you used to get your racing purse, get excited for the day. And I think have we lost the plot, John?
We've completely lost the plot. I mean, there's absolutely nothing on the VHA website that would give any indication whatsoever that they give punters a second thought. And they seem to want everybody that follows the sport to be part of that social stable that they're always on about in ITV racing, that basically go to get bowsed up, and they're having 5 or a 10 a race and probably a knife fight at the end of the afternoon, and that is it, I mean, the only incentive you've got to get into this game at the minute is collect 12 empty crisp packets and become a clerk of the fucking course.
It's absolutely spot on. I mean, the thing is for me with the racing league, and the same with the Shergar Cup when they introduced it, I'm not like I get. There's some people that argue this could bring in outside, people into the sport.
Tell me how they're measuring it. Like, what tangible result they're going to get from this or the racing league?
John is absolutely spot on. John's spot on there, because what are we doing to measure it? In a former life, I was heavily involved in measuring the effects of advertising, basically econometrics. and have written a book on it as well. It was a very boring one.
Aye.
But there's nobody measured. But there is absolutely nobody measured. You know, you go to Ascot tomorrow. You go to Ascot tomorrow. There's nobody handing out a voucher and saying, "Well, are you coming back?" or measuring it coming back or something like that. Nothing at all.
How long has this gone on now, this Shergar Cup for Argo, and nothing at all quantifiable has been achieved? Nothing. Zero. There's been drinks, lunches handed out left, right and centre, and the game's in crisis. And these idiots are just pressing on regardless with absolute jack shit to show for it.
I thought the biggest fun, I thought I will have a look to see who's top of the racing league. So where would you go for that? Oh, I thought the racing league website.
So did I.
It's not on there, is it?
No.
You have to go to William Hill, who are the title sponsors, to find out who's actually in the bleeding lead.
I had a look last Sunday, Andy, and they were still selling tickets for the previous Thursday.
Incredible. It is. I mean, it's as if. God. This is the thing. I mean, life's a bit crazy at the moment, and the things that racing are doing, I just, oh, geez, it really does annoy the life out of me, and I don't see any tangible benefits from all this other than that they've pissed off Grant Chua. I mean, you know, and rightfully so. He's got a valid point. I mean, it's not inclusive. Racing's supposed to be inclusive. It's not. Obviously, this isn't. It's just down to a certain set of trainers and that's it. I can't have it. I just think racing is not about a team sport. I bet on horses to win and to win money, and I don't really care who the team is, who the owners is afterwards. I couldn't give a monkeys. And people say, well, you know, that must bring a wider appeal in. How does it bring a wider appeal? And surely it's all about betting a winner, collecting your money. Oh, this was good. I've enjoyed the experience. Or if you've lost, even coming back, you know, looking at horses in the paddock, studying the form, betting to win. Surely that's the ethos that drives the sport. Incredible times we live in. Chaps, it really is.
I'll tell you a quick story, like, that'll get you a bit of an idea, right? Back in 1975, right, when I was coming up 9, I had a chance to go on a trip with our working men's club, our local trip, and they always used to take the kids away to Blackpool for the day. And my old fella said, "You don't really need to go on that." He said, "You can come with me to York." And it was the what was the Benson and Hedges International. And he explained to me in great detail why he was going to have a good bet on Dahlia, because she couldn't get to Grundy and Bustano in the King George, and Leicester looked after her. And he pointed that out to me. And he said, she's going there a lot fresher than Grundy, and I'm going to have a good bet on her. I was 9. This couldn't happen now.
No.
You know, with the dumbing down. And I went there as a 9-year-old, confidently expecting my old man to collect after the case he made to me about why we were going. You know, we weren't going because I like Charlotte's ice cream, which I do. We were going there because he was having a bloody good punt on something, and he'd explained to me why we were going. And I wasn't going for the playground or anything else. If I said I wanted to go on the playground, I'd probably go smack down the logo. You know, but that was the day for me, waiting to see Dahlia running that race. And I was euphoric when she won. And I had got a bean on it myself, but I was absolutely euphoric. I was cheering and shouting, you know. And where the hell is that going to happen now?
Exactly. I mean, it literally is study the form, place your bets, you know, like, and enjoy the experience. And yet we're not selling that particular angle, like Andy's commented on. You know, we're literally selling pop concerts. You know, like you say, it's a different crowd. But who does that benefit? I mean, the people that are telling me, "Oh, racing league's great," or right. the tracks only benefit from the admin fee, from the admission fees, from the burger sales, whatever. That's not going into the levy. The only thing that funds the sport at the moment is the levy, which is betting levy. You need to encourage betting. The main channel doesn't encourage betting. ITV it concentrates on gym bars and and oh look at these people having a great time. It doesn't concentrate on betting, which we need people to bet. It's that simple. The way the levy's set up, until that changes, racing's screwed. If you're not encouraging people to bet on the sport, it really is a big problem, because there'll be no funding in the sport, and this is where we're at. Bookmakers are running the sport. You've seen how ground racing's gone. We're starting early in the morning, we're finishing late at night. It's going to get that way with horse racing. It does worry me. It worries me. Worries the life out of me. We can't keep up with it as it is. We've got literally 6-7 meetings a day, 8 race cards. The sport's getting monotonous. It's boring, and we're trying to be objective here and be fun and create a good podcast and good select, which we will. I'm getting too negative, but that's the thing. It's not good, and racing needs to really get a grip here. It's not good for punters, and punters need an out here. They need like Andrew Woodman has commented on the Twitter feed. He said about that racing needs to take the football lead of a fan-led review of the sport. We had that with the horse bettors forum to a degree, but that's not really got anywhere. I don't know what it'd do in our sport, to be honest. Any thoughts on that?
I'm just baffled at this whole racing league thing. I mean, there's Team Swish here, sponsored by Swish Cocktails. The team manager is one Rosie Tapner. Tapner was born in London and grew up in Chipperfield, Hertfordshire. She's the daughter of Alex and Rory Tapner. They sound like they've come up from now, don't they? She was educated at Downhouse School in Caldash, Berkshire, graduating in 2014. Tapner has taken part in eventing competitions. Well, what a surprise. And the other angle on the teams, of course, you've got the likes of Team Talksport with Alan Brazil as the manager. I mean, what the blue hell are they doing? Seriously. What is going on here? I mean, if there was proper governance applied to this, I mean, half of these would be going away in manacles, wouldn't they? Yeah. That's running this. I mean, where the hell? When were they advertising for team managers?
Yeah.
Who can apply?
Exactly that. I mean, and the only people I've seen defending the racing league really on Twitter, I'll be honest, are the people involved and on the payroll. And I mean,
Goat Racing here. Who's the manager of this? Fucking Heidi.
God. Did you watch Heidi as a youngster, John?
I'm just guessing. Yeah. Charlie Austin, for God's sake. Never heard of him. Might be a she anyway.
Charlie Austin, footballer. Centre forward for Southampton, QPR.
Is he a god?
No, I don't know. But anyway, he's doing that. But anyway, so yeah, the Ian Davies pointed out that the Irish have plundered 100,000 from us the other night. The baby Joseph team, not the fetus Joseph, the fetus O'Brien, but the baby Joseph.
He's waiting in the wings, the fetus.
The fetus might be for next year.
I'm waiting for substitutions and Emmett to run Tom, Dick, or Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I should have started the show with this. Really, I'm terrible. Fry has messaged me, and she says she's got a tip. So if this goes up in time, I believe this will probably go up at 6:45. Fry has messaged. She said, "Call me Dolly in the last at Tipperary tonight is a very, very good bet." So where are we at? We're on to the hang on.
There's, I've got it up here on Betfair. There is the current prices are 10, 11, but there's only a couple of quid there. But there's more. There's more.
Fry is very,
by the excellent Siobhan Rutledge.
Oh, I wish he'd gone.
Oh, John's clicking now. John's moving the money in. But yeah, Call Me Dolly is Catherine Fry's Big Nap, and the 7:30 at Tipperary.
Talking of Miss Fry, she had a narrow miss with that Emmett Mullins thing. What was it? Crown's Affair, I believe, and of course it went and out, didn't it?
Yeah, and then it cut, a few days later. I mean, Fry was tremendous last week. I mean, she really was. I mean, she came up with some fantastic selections. You know, to be honest, Fry's not been the luckiest the last year. She came up with some great selections in the winter. Always seemed to run well or run second at big prices.
At least 30 minutes out of the dungeon for that.
He does.
I can't believe I've let it go down there with the mobile phone, to be honest.
Yeah, she must have got like 3G, John, and the text got out. You know, like
I think she's holding the phone out the window. She's managed to get the foot in the bars. She somehow managed to sneak a signal.
Absolutely. Right, we're going to move on to the tipping part of the show, where we'll attempt to dissect the Saturday racing's cards.
Leslie will be happy then.
Oh yeah, our good friend Leslie. I mean, Leslie's lovely. I mean, Leslie Doreen. We have you
come across Doreen, yeah.
Yeah, well, he loves the game, does Leslie. Hopefully, we can give him some pink buttons. We're going to start off. We'll save the big meeting till. I say big meeting. We'll save the big meeting till last. We'll start off with a Haydock in the 225 race, which is the Mansion Bet London Mile Series qualifier. Fantastic Fox heads the market at 15-8. Andy, I'll come to you first if you've anything on this.
I'm just checking one thing first, because there are a couple of non-runners in this, and my other current sort of bet noir is the market management of horse racing markets on Betfair, which quite frankly is appalling. Absolutely appalling. I mean, I don't know who they've got doing it. Well, I do know who they've got doing it, but I mean, Mickey Mouse is too kind. Now, they managed to leave one in the market here. So I'm just going to check to see if they've taken it out, because it would have taken them about 2 hours to take the damn horse out. No, it's still there. Thiban, which the jockey underneath has got non-runner underneath it. It was a non-runner at 3:04 this afternoon, BHA site. It is still in the market. So at the moment, you've got a heavily manipulated market on Betfair. Absolutely useless once again. I must have now, on at least 8 to 10 occasions in the last month, had to email them or ask them via their Twitter feed to take horses out. The market management, not only on this sport, but on football as well, appalling at the moment. It's a crying shame, because when I did work at Betfair, I was based for a while with the guys in Market Ops, who were an absolutely fantastic bunch. And now it's a crying shame. And that's criminal to have that still in the market with non-runner as the jockey underneath.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So if
anybody is listening to this and wants to bet on Betfair, please check that they take Thiban out of the market. I couldn't be asked to email them once again for a job that they should be doing. They've managed to take Eminent Hipster out of the market. I'd imagine you'd be quite amused with this race with Fantastic Fox after his antics, or the antics of SDS on him last time out at Ascot. To be honest with you, I mean, Thiban's still in the market. I went round and round in circles. I really wouldn't want to bet in this race. God knows what they're going to do with Fantastic Fox. They're going to front run him, hold him up again. Dubai Mirage actually won this last year off 87. He's now off 97. Was a decent fourth at 17 at York last time out, but he did look a little bit awkward, if I'm being kind, in the finish. And you've got Royal Muse making his handicap debut, having never run on going, which we assume. I've just got Haydock on here on the telly at the moment. Looks at least on the soft side, shall we say. So big question marks for me, both in terms of market management and even having a bet in it, which I won't be doing.
No, fair assessment. I mean, fantastic Fox. I mean, I had a lot of money on this last time, and I was raging at the ride. John, what if it is soft tomorrow, which it's going to be probably? In fact, there's a lot of rain forecast at Haydock tomorrow as well. It might end up like a bog. Have you got any view on this?
Yeah, now that Thibaan's out, that really is the pace angle gone, in all honesty. And for me, this is quite simple, really. What you do, you assume that Betfair have finally taken Thibaan out of the market at post time. You wait till they jump off, and if Sill gets him out and takes the lead, then you just get as much on as you can at anything above 6-4.
Yeah, I mean,
you'll win.
Does the ground not worry you?
Nah. Moved perfectly all right at Ascot the time before when he got silled as well. When he ran it, he just tried it up at 10, and Sill thought it was 6. So I'm not even remotely concerned about that. If he sits in front, he'll piss up.
Yeah, he's a very well handicapped horse. There's absolutely no doubt. And as long as he handles conditions, I think he'll take the world of beating.
I wanted him to run in something where there was going to be loads of pace on and a nice sized trail, to be honest, where he could have got 6 or 7 to 1, and got proper stuck in. Ideally, we're still picking someone else as well, but there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Cheers, folks. We'll move on to the Mansion Bet Rose of Lancaster Group 3 affair. Nice prize, 80,000 guaranteed, 45,000 to the winner. 15-8 favourite, and drifting is at Real World, the very impressive horse of Saeed bin Saroz that turfed over Derab very impressively, I felt. But ground maybe, Andy?
Well, I suppose that the sort of question mark here is Real World, which has already been on the drift. Will he go on the ground? Impressive the last twice, admittedly, but you're just dealing with, you don't know, do you? He's drifted out to around, it's gone over 2-1 now on the machine, and you are just guessing, really. I would probably rule out those age 6+. They've not got a great record in that. That'd take out Stormy Antarctic. Dear old Yukon Gled and Extra Elusive, who won this last year when he beat Global Giant. I suppose the really interesting one is Silver again on Fox's Tails. He should be fine on the ground. He's not that far off what Real World's done. Probably £5 or £6 off on my ratings. He's about behind him. And you're looking at 2-1 versus 9-2. And he has got soft ground form to his name. I think that's the way I'd go. It wouldn't be a race I'd be ultra confident about. Just trying to find a bit of, you can't eat value, but maybe you can eat a bit of 9-2 on Fox's Tails against Real World, which you've got a little bit of a question mark about, despite his impressive visual form.
Sure. So an each way play for Andy there. Fox's Tails at around the 11-2 mark. I believe best price against the if this was fast ground, I would be having the lot on Real World, but it probably would be 15-8 if it was fast ground. John, have you any views on this?
Well, I thought Real World was absolutely amazing last time, really, because he pulled like Rolf Harris during that kids swimming advert in the 70s. And he still thumped a good horse in Derab very convincingly. But I've never been over keen on Dark Angels on soft ground, to be honest. And I think he's so good on quicker ground that it would probably pay to have a little dab at Fox's Tails, despite the Sill factor, really. So not to add to that, really.
Yeah, no, I agree with you two completely. It's a shame because, I mean, you're hoping kind of Saeed maybe withdraws Real World, really, and then we can have a good bet on Fox's Tails because Sill might just decide to just bomb on, and that might be all right. But, yeah, Fox's Tails, good shout from the guys. At around the 11 to 2 each way, a pleasure. Right, we move on to another ITV race, which is at Newmarket headquarters, the home of Michael Prosser and his overwatered slop. And we go to the 250, which is the Sweet Solera Group 3 fillies event. Some established and very decorated fillies have won this in the past. Wild Beauty heads the market at 5 to 2 for Charlie Appleby and Will Buick. John, I'll come to you first on this.
Well, I'm playing golf with the Ginger Hitler tomorrow. in order to avoid the Shergar Cup. But
what good shout.
Having studied this race in great detail, I have actually come up with a fair old bet. Provided I get a bit of wet on this course, I'm going to put the hammer down a bit on a horse called Nurse Claire that looked an absolute baboon last time. She hung halfway across the track when asked for an effort on quicker ground at Ascot. She hated the ground, almost curled up and died on it. Prior to that, I thought she looked absolutely excellent when she won on the debut. Travelled up a trade, put the race to bed, no sweat, and she still impressed me in certain stages in that race at Ascot. I like the way she travelled while she was on the bit and everything, and I'm putting that down completely to her not fancying it when she was asked to quit on quicker ground. I think if she can get her toe in tomorrow, this is worth a bet at 16 to 1.
Good shout. So Nurse Claire for John at big prices for the Fay team. Filly by Ribchester. Impressive debut at Carlisle. Obviously didn't quite step on from that last time, but again, this wouldn't be a vintage Sweet Solera, Andy. Have you got a view on this?
No, not particularly strongly, not as strong as John's, but it's interesting that what John says there, that the race that Nurse Claire was finished. That sounds like a character from a Carry On film.
Bad porno.
Or films of that repute.
Bad porno.
Yeah. Other film franchises are available. But just to flag that form a little bit, of course, Nurse Claire was sixth and last behind Angel Blur last time up, which went on to win the Group 2 Vintage Stakes at Goodwood. So that form's got a little bit of strength to it. I thought the Kilt might have a chance here with Value Theory. I was quite impressed with the way that one won last time out. In fact, 8 of the last 10 winners have previously run at the July course, so a little bit of experience there. There's quite a few that have actually run here, but Value Theory won here over 7 furlongs last time out. I thought she looked as though she needed a mile there, but might run the finish out of these. Wild Beauty, that was a decent run last time out, but I wasn't blown away. If I was having a bet, and it would only be a very, very modest one, it would be Value Theory for the Kilt and Franny Norton out in front.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair shout, I think, Andy. I mean, Value Theory, I did feel still has a lot to learn after her last win. I thought she was keen enough, and she still did the business. I think being by Gleneagles, if any rain falls, I mean, Gleneagles is showing a very distinctive liking to a little bit of cut in the ground. So again, all positives there. I like that shout. Value Theory. I think that 4 to 1 could be a little bit of value in that race. In what would not be, I don't think, a vintage renewal of this race. So good calls, guys. Right, we'll move on to the principal meeting. And we've had comments on our Twitter saying, "Where's the group races?" He's like 6 handicaps, and it's supposed to be the flagship card of the ITV racing portfolio. Yeah, very disappointing. You've got group races at other meetings, and it's the Shergar Cup, named after obviously a very, very great racehorse, and it's a shame. Like Ian Davis said, the Shergar race is the classic trial race at Sandown. That's the name that should be named after Shergar. Anyway, 12:50 race.
I saw him win that race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's that's what prepared. I mean, John, you were involved with Shergar
Mm.
around
Well,
that time.
the,
You
the old fella
working
more than me.
for Stout.
The old fella more than me at the time. Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful horse. And this is rather like saying this is the Pele Vauxhall Conference, isn't it? Or something like that, you know? I mean, dear God.
Yeah. Right, so we kicked the Shergar Cup off with the obviously the COVID restricted jockeys lineup, and we go with the 1250. It's the 5 furlong Dubai duty free race, 5-1. Joint favourites at the moment are Desert Safari and Tis Marvelous. I'm going to kick this one off because I've not got many bets on tomorrow, to be honest, up to now. I'm going to kick this one off for you guys. Turn the Baron. It's around the 8-1 mark for the. Let's be fair. Haley Turner's had a fair level of success in these kind of races, and what interested me,
the leading rider at the Shergar Cup.
Yeah,
297 points, 8 wins, and 13 appearances.
Is that on the Wikipedia page?
Look at that list.
No, it's not off a Wikipedia page.
That's stats reeled by our very, very good Bickley 14 that's just absolutely nailed it there.
You can tell there's no Euro. You can tell Brexit's happened because there's no European team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, boycott it. Yeah. I mean, Turn the Baron. Right, this is a great case, chaps, and I'm going to make a really good case for you. This horse is 2 from 3 at Ascot, likes the track, likes a good fast 5, like well-run race, comes there travelling. And what interested me was, barring the debut back in 2018, this horse is 4 from 4 fresh. 4 from 4. Not that. 127 days off, 4 from 4. Obviously trained for the race. Yeah, what's not to like? I'll kick off with you, Andy.
He's also 2 from 2 at the track, isn't he? Is he 2 from
2 from 3?
2 from 3 at the track, yeah.
2 from 3 at the track and 4 from 4 fresh. If you ignore the debut,
I wouldn't disagree with that. A couple of, if you like your stats, there's a few quick ones for you. Biggest price winner in the last 10 has been 6-1. 5 of the last 11 actually had previous Ascot, run at Ascot on their previous start. The trainers that have done well in this have been Andrew Balding and Robert Cowell. They both got runners in this. In fact, Andrew Balding is has the best record at the Shergar Cup, 13 from 65 years. Roger Charlton and Clive Cox are 2 other trainers that do well. And John will like this. Only the Kilt has had more runners than Andrew Balding at the Shergar Cup.
I like that stat there, Balding. 20% strike rate at the Shergar Cup.
He's pretty good. I mean, he's got Stone of Destiny. He won this the last time it was run in 2019. It's probably a bit tough for him this time off a mark of 102. That handicap mark hasn't been defied here for absolute. I don't think it ever has been actually. Not by a 4-year-old plus. The 4-year-old plus is off marks of 102 plus and 0 from 25 at the Shergar Cup. I didn't really. I agree with you, Lee. Tone the Baron. I'd stick for the Kilt. I'd stick Desert Safari, and I thought he ran a decent race in the Stewards Cup. To be seventh. He hit 4.4 as an in-running low. It's not the strongest race. Tis Marvelous is another obvious one with Ascot form 2 from 8. Wouldn't be getting over involved, but I'd sling Desert Safari in for the Kilt basically, just as a small play.
Okie doke. Desert Safari for Andy. That's around the 5-1 mark. Turn the Baron for me. John, what are you saying?
I did this card with a view to this being run on fairly soft ground, to be honest, and I don't think I'm going to be far wrong. The one I liked at the price was a plum of Jane Chapel Hyams. Will handle the ground. Probably won't be ridden as far back as normal because she's got Joe boat, and I think his instinct is not to sit too far out of his ground. and I'm heartened by the trainer's comments. She's obviously been reading the Bible according to St. Mark of Middleham, because she says he skidded on the ground last time. We've got the old pro, Joe Fanning, so I won't need to tell him what to do. He's got a chance, especially with rain in the forecast. I thought, yes, indeed. So 16-1 for me for the old pro who won't be told what to do.
Lift him home, Joe. At 78 years old, at 16-1 for the oldest man in history to ever win a horse race. In the first race there, Ascot for John. Right, we'll move on to the second race. Uber Cool for the Jane Chapel Hat Peg team, 100-30 favourite. John, I'll come to you first. John, you first this one.
Well, obviously, I like Jane Chapel Harrier horses at 16-1. I can't be entertaining anything at that sort of price. So I am going with Just Hubert, who refused to race last time.
Yes, he looked a proper bar steward.
Well, exactly. So, I mean, what else could you expect a proper bar steward to select than a proper bar steward? The kind of reasons in the madness here. I think this thing might just appreciate a bit of gentler handling, shall we say. And he might just run for Nicola Curry. The time before, when it was genuine good to firm at Newbury. It was one of the 4 or 5 days where we have had it. I thought he travelled up nice enough, but as soon as he came off, he didn't want to know on the ground. He's a well-handicapped horse, this, at the minute, and I think he has got a race of this nature in him. Now, if the occasion doesn't get to him and he digs his toes in again, I think we've got half a chance. 14-1.
I think what will be interesting is you can just see this, that if he's 14-1, he might be 18 on the machine or 19. I can guarantee you, if he comes out of traps, he'll probably be about 11.
Yeah.
For traders, that are waiting on the stalls, etc. If you can get on near SP at the off,
William Muir is adamant he's going to be all right. He said he's always been a character all his life, and at Goodwood it was a case of the flip start being by the exit to the paddock. He's cleverer than all of us. Well, probably right in Muir's case, and knew that was the way out, so stayed there. When he goes into the stalls, he has no problem. That's a cast-iron guarantee from the trainer there, folks. I think he's in good order and should run a good race. What more can you ask at 14s?
Yeah, absolutely. Very well enough 87, by the way. This is a well-handicapped horse. John mentioned him favourably for the Goodwood race, and he planted his feet, and John lit a cigar. Andy, your views on this?
They're all much of a muchness, aren't they, really? Ian Williams has got a good record in this race. He's got 3 of them. He could have 4 if they get the reserve in as well with Rashun. Out of those, to be honest with you, I didn't really like any of his trio, but the Kilt has got a shocking record in this race. He's only had 2 plays from 15 runners, and that's in 11 run-ins, so might be avoiding his just on that. He's got one that's run about 4 million times this year. That's our old friend Hochfeld. I suppose, Uber Cool. God, it was a good training performance to get him to win off 959-day break, wasn't it? Actually, Hassanabad was 5th in that particular Chester race. They've given him a bit of a break since then, so that would help. But I'm not fancying the price too much in a race which, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if anything wins, including Just Hubert. I do like Call My Bluff as a horse, but the stable's not in the greatest of form this year. The old Dominic French Davis with lots of F's in. They're only 2 from 46. Cleontay Baldwin does well here. He won this in 2018, Cleontay. I suppose I was going to take a bit of a chance. Island Brave won a similar race. It wasn't the same race. It was a sort of pseudo race of this here last year. He tends to run quite well here. He got too far back in that Ascot handicap when he was 9th last time. He ran pretty well in the plate up on the all-weather. He got demoted into 4th for hampering Rajinski that day. quite like Heather Main's horses. I don't think he's spectacularly well handicapped anymore. Off a mark of 99, but he should run a decent race, a little bit each way on Island Brave in a race where I don't really have a strong opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Island Brave ran perfectly well in the Northumberland Plate, finishing fourth there. Like you say, he's a very, very consistent profile. 10 wins in its lifetime, Island Brave. So 15-2 available for that. John's selection, Just Hubert. I'm personally, I like John's Just Hubert. But again, if you're a little bit shrewd, you might just pay attention to the start, and if you've got fast pictures, you know what to do if Just Hubert pings the lids. The third race on the card is the 2 o'clock. It's the 1.5 mile Dubai Duty Free Shergar Cup. Challenge handicap, 0-95 affair. Sam Cook was withdrawn from a race today. Obviously preferred to run here for the Rafe and Ralph brothers at 100-30 market leader with Sean Levy, the Falmouth, not Falmouth, the Falmouth. What do you call the fillies race, John? The Falmouth, is it? Yeah, the Falmouth. The Falmouth winner, Snow Lantern. I had to think there. It has been a long afternoon, a long liquid luncheon. So Sam Cook heads the affair at 100-30. John, views here.
Well, I started off looking at this race, and I did actually think that Sam Cook was probably the one to bring it on home here. Sorry, apologise. But at the prices, I don't really fancy playing 100-30 fabs in a Shergar Cup. I think Graphite's getting close to a workable mark, and handles potentially soft ground perfectly well. I like the fact he's out of a Linamix mare and what have you. I think there's potential there for a big performance on soft ground. But I don't rate Sam Cook a danger. I think the problem being there is horse that can go keen, and a jockey that's not ridden him before, he might just pull like buggery tomorrow.
So you more keen on Graphite then?
Yes, yeah. I would have to say Graphite would be a more percentage call at 10-1.
Yep, second to Duke of Condicott last time at Newmarket, off a mark of 90 off 92 today. Certainly goes there with claims. Andy, for you?
Well, I had Graphite down as a bit of a sort of wild card in this. Only cost 7,000 guineas from Andre Farb. Didn't show much in his first two starts for the Kents, did he? But I don't think he was particularly well handicapped, then off 195. But he certainly caught the eye on his last two Newmarket runs, one on the Rowley, one on the July course. Certainly last time out, the handicapper's starting to give him a chance. If you look at him now, if you look at his second to the Revenant when he was in France, that's rated 119 now. You've got to think he's quite well handicapped of 92. Any rain won't worry him if the ground softens up. I think you'd probably want to keep him on your side. Seem to have found the key to him sticking the old tongue tie on as well. The other one I thought was interesting. I agree with John's comments about Sam Cook. I just wonder whether he will settle. HMS President ran earlier in the week. I think he's a little bit quirky. Spanish Kiss, I was a little bit disappointed with last time out, but I don't think he got the run of the race. But even though this is only, 10 runners tomorrow, that inside stall over 1.5 miles, I'm still not that keen on it. I still think you can get a little bit trapped away down the inside there. In fact, 9 of the last 14 winners of this have been drawn between stalls 5 and 8. So even in a smaller field, that inside draw. The other one I thought was interesting was Group 1 Power. He beat Sam Cook last time out at Chester over 1.3 miles. Again, I don't think he got the greatest ride there, to be honest with you. But if you go back to last year, when he was fourth in that King George V handicap off a mark of 80, he was only just behind these three: Hookham, Kipps and Subjectivist. Now, we know what Hookham and Subjectivist have gone on to do since. And unfortunate Subjectivist looks like he's suffered what is a career-ending injury. But Hookham's now was off 90, now rated 114. Subjectivist was rated 94 and was rated 122. And Kipps is certainly rated higher as well. I thought those two possibly, if you wanted to play a couple against the field there, Group 1 Power and Graphite were the two interesting ones. Probably one of the more interesting races on the card.
Yeah, good points there about Group 1 Power. Flapper Joe in the saddle to flap away like a flappy paddle gearbox at the 6-1 mark. Certainly got the form. I mean, like Andy patently points out, he definitely got the form. The only thing I would say at Chester last time, I don't know if he threw it away or not, but I thought it was a little bit jadey. I thought you probably should have won from there. From the position.
He was only claimer ridden and by a fairly inexperienced lad, William Carver, who I quite like, but fairly inexperienced.
Yeah, it's a fair shout. I mean, like William Carver wouldn't be a choice when the cash is down, but Flapper Joe maybe not be the upgrade that you need. But anyway, he's fair shout on form. Yes, I like it, and I like the points about Sam Cook. Being keen, etc. So some good points there.
Can anybody help me out here? Because I haven't even found out what these teams are in the Shergar Cup. I mean, I'm looking at these jockeys and I'm thinking, like, there must be a team of 3rd Division journeymen, questionable all-weather jockeys, and declining drunks, possibly, So,
there's nothing wrong with the declining drunk.
Well, no, I suppose not. And obviously there's the ladies' team with our Haley and Michaela Mikel, whatever she's called.
Michaela Mikel. I've never seen said person ride. No ideas.
I think Ty O'Shea's been transferred, hasn't he? Because didn't he ride for the rest of the world before?
I think so.
Yeah.
What's his team? He's
in the Ireland team this time.
Right.
At least the colourblind people have half a chance of working out what not what the colours are, but what their horse is, because there are some sort of differentials on the colours. If you're colourblind, that racing league stuff is a nightmare because they just block colours.
Yeah, I must admit it's quite difficult. I agree. Yeah. When you're looking in running and stuff. But right, we'll move on to the 4th race, Ascot, which is the mile race. 100 to 30 favourite is Dance Fever for Clive Cox and Ty O'Shea, who's defected to the Irish team after competing for the rest of the world. Kind of weird.
It's a big transfer.
Yeah, big transfer. Big transfer.
Must have found out he had an Irish grandfather or something.
Yeah. There's something afoot there. So I'll come to you, Andy, on this.
Well, I suppose, Dance Fever has got the form to win this. Of that, there is no doubt, after being, third of 19 in the international stakes last time out behind Dania. And arguably a little bit unlucky, but the ground would be my question mark here. Could be a little bit vulnerable on that ground. And for that reason, I would pass over Dance Fever. I think if you get a bit of precipitation in the morning, then you may well see that one drifting like the proverbial. You'd have to give. There's one at a sort of big price here, or fairly big price. Bear Force 1 would be quite interesting because Haley has won 2 of the last 6, and Lady Riders have won 3 of the last 6 of this. I don't think Bear Force 1. I don't think you can totally write him off, but prior to that, but before that, I'd be much keener on Dancing Roger, who I think is a 4-year-old in pretty decent form at the moment. And I'd also, if they go a decent gallop it's a round mile, by the way, it would be Uzo, who ran a good race to be 4th in the Hunt Cup, which is obviously on the straight course, but I don't think he was seen to best effect at Goodwood last time out behind the Minutiae Good Thing migration, and a strong pace back over shorter would certainly suit him. I'm just having a quick look at the sort of relative prices, because I think I'd always want to go for a bit of a price in this, and Dance Fever's drifting. Uzo's actually been backed down the bottom. You can always see that, and actually there's been a bit of money for Bear Force 1. If forced, I think Dancing Roger's the safe one, but if it does rain a fair bit, then Uzo back if there is a decent pace in this, and there ought to be, then he would be at slightly bigger prices. But I'd go for Dancing Roger because I just think his form is pretty solid and he'll enjoy the ground and he's improving.
Okay, Dancing Roger for Andy. William Stone, Kieran Fallon Jr. takes the ride. 9-2 available at the moment. I am a big Dashing Roger fan. Really, really like this horse. I think it's very consistent. Always runs its race. The more rain, the better. So hopefully the rain will fall, and we can all have some massive place-only bets on Dashing Roger, which will be my choice tomorrow. John, you?
I quite like Young Fire in this. David O'Meara's horse. The thing with this one, it's a hold-up horse, and I think there'll be enough pace on for this to show a bit of improvement, actually. I didn't think it did so badly last time at York when it ran on from the back to be sixth to La Trinidad. That was on good ground. Prior to that, it had won on the soft at Haydock under a hold-up ride, which wasn't necessarily ideal. It did quite well to win from where it was positioned, I thought. And I think another furlong, it would have won quite handsomely. Prior to that, it had shown a marked preference for getting its toe in. It was held up at Thirsk on the previous time when it got its ground. It was only 6 of 8, but I mean, if you drop in last at Thirsk over 7, you deserve all you get, really. And as I said, the last time at York, I was left with the impression that this horse had more to offer off a mark of 100. Jason Watson wouldn't be an ideal pilot for me anyway. I think Sean Levy will give it a good ride. I'm a bit concerned that it's drifted to 18s from 12s since I started betting on it. I do like to see a bit of money for O'Meara horses, but at the price, I think he's a sporting player.
Good shout. Young Fire, yeah, did shape well at York. Yeah, look, held up, so maybe a bit disadvantaged for Sean Levy and David O'Meara. 18-1 for John. Good shout for the 2:35 race there. We move on to our penultimate race of the day. The 3:10 race. Barn Owl is the 4-1 favourite for Rogers Charlton Haley Turner. John, will come to you first.
Well, I'm all over this Star Calibre here. Basically because I think it's one of the few that could benefit from digging the ground. I quite like the fact that the Baldwin stable's been in terrific form all season as well. I'm looking at a lot of these. I mean, Buxted Toe blew out. He's only run on soft ground. Prison Break doesn't look like it'll be his best on it. Barn Owl's been taken out on good to soft. Annadale's probably run okay on soft ground, but I think this Star Calibre out of a French mare, I don't really see many negatives for this on the ground, and this is probably my one decent bet in the Shergar Cup tomorrow. I'm going to go and get solid on this each way.
Okay, that's really cool. So Star Calibre, one of John's best bets, around the 10-1 mark for James Doyle in the saddle. Stall 4, decent enough draw. Don't want to be on the inside. Andrew, your thoughts here?
Well, it's been a good race for the Kilt, and he's got 3 in this, hasn't he? He's won his 3 of 11. 13 of his 29 runners in the last 11 have actually made the frame, so that should give you some positive points for State of Bliss, I should call it, Annadale and Harlem Soul. State of Bliss was in the 6:38 at Newmarket this evening, but it is no more because it is a non-runner there. And the rest of the world team, for those of you like your team, if you're following a team, they've won 3 of the last 4 of this. So what are they? What colours are they in? I can't remember. I think they're the yellow team. So if you're following a team and supporting them, and you've got your half and half scarf out, the rest of the world are the team. It's not been a bad race. It's probably the weakest one if you're looking sort of trends and stuff like that. It should be run at a fair pace. I mean, Star Calibre could have a bit of company up front. He ran in that really strange race last time out, where they went off like bats out of hell, and the first 3 all finished 1, 2, 3, and the other 5 didn't really want to get involved in the race or were half asleep. State of Bliss keeps coming second, or placed at least. Sky Cutter's another front runner. He failed to settle when he bombed off at Newbury last time out and nearly held on. I think Barn Owl is a bit like the favourite in the previous race, Dance Fever. He ran a very good race to be second of 8 to just fine last time out. I think that one's well ahead of its mark. But the ground, as John said, I'd be a little bit of a question mark on there. And if you see any precipitation, I could see that on the drift. The two Kilt runners, I'd probably say State of Bliss is the best of them. I thought Contact was worth a stab. First try at over 1.5 miles was successful at Ponty, won by 5.5 lengths, admittedly on a bit of a slot. But I thought the fifth last time out over 2 furlongs further at having gone up £8, which I thought was a little bit harsh at Haydock. Wasn't a bad run last time out, and I could see him running a decent race here. Again, it's not a race that, again, you probably sort of run this about 5 or 6 times and probably get 5 or 6 different results. But Contact sort of around 6 to 1, 6, 7 to 1 was of mild interest.
Okie dokie. So Contact for Millie Michaeli Michael, Michelle Michaeli Michael at the 6 to 1 mark for Andy. Barn Owl would have been my choice, but I'd need the surface. A sound one, like has already been pointed out. Roger Charlton's already withdrawn the horse previously on a softer than good surface. So it's a watching brief for me until we know what the ground is. As John has said, 6.6 good ground. He's laughing all the way to the leads with that one. We move on to the finale. 3:45 race. It's the 6 furlong race. A Class 2 knots 100 handicap. Royal Scimitar. He's 3 to 1 favourite for Clive Cox and Nicola Curry. Andy, views here.
Well, just to sort of complete the sort of trends, higher rates have done well in this. So you maybe want to be looking at the top end of the handicap. It's also been a good race for sort of front of the market backers. And I think that's probably where you need to be this time. And it's really splitting the 3 at the top end of the market. Popmaster, Royal Scimitar, as you mentioned, Dream Composer. I think they're probably the 3 best in this. Royal Scimitar, again, it's if the rain stays away. He was a non-runner last week at Goodwood on the soft in that Consolation Stewards Cup. The 4th of 17 previously, that's a Blackrod, my home village, is, and no, I didn't back it on that occasion because everybody asked me. That race has worked out well because the 3rd was the aforementioned Popmaster just in front of Royal Scimitar. The 6th was a winner at Goodwood when the dealing's done, who I thought was actually quite impressive actually. And the 10th home there, Blind Beggar, ran a very good race in that Sky Bet Dash where he got punted off the boards into 4 to 1 favourite. So that form is very strong. The only problem with Royal Scimitar, again, a bit like a few of the others we've mentioned, Barn Owl, Dance Fever, the rain. And if that came, that would slightly put you off. Whereas the other 2, Popmaster and Dream Composer, shouldn't have any problems on the ground. I thought Popmaster won quite impressively last time out. And Dream Composer was a little bit unfortunate in that race at Royal Ascot where he probably got pushed wider than he wanted to or took a wider route than he needed to in that sprint, that 3-year-old sprint at Royal Ascot. So it's a little bit unfortunate there. Depends on the ground. I wasn't particularly I suppose at the prices, if there's 3 of them there, I like Royal Scimitar as a horse, but I'd be a little bit worried about the ground. I just think Popmaster might just have a little bit more in him, and at the current Betfair price that I'm looking at, 9 to 2, he'd make some appeal as he's probably the least ground dependent. And he, if it stays the way it is, he's going to be fine. If it rains, he's going to be fine. And I thought he won pretty well last time out. I think he might be a little bit quirky, but I do think he's got a little bit more left in Popmaster with the Derby winning Adam Kirby on board.
Good shout, Andy. I'm in agreement with you. I think Popmaster's the most solid selection, given exactly what you've just said. I think the least negatives in terms of ground, etc. And I think Popmaster is in very good form. And I think that's an each way bet to nothing. John, you to finish the show off with a finale, a blitzer. You've got a blitzer in this.
I'm going with Dream Composer, actually. I think this is a bit of a blogger finale to the day's proceedings. I can see the blogger and the stallion shouting for Mademoiselle Michelle. And I think the price is right for the blogger, the ground is right for the horse. I'm highly delighted the rain's come. I'm hoping that Clive Cox sees a bit of sense, takes Royal Scimitar out, because there's a race at the Aber meeting that's got his name written through it like Blackpool Rock. And I will be all over it if, as expected, he has a fairly easy time of it tomorrow. If he does run, I think he'll drop away, because I think they'll misjudge the ground and run him by mistake. Nicola Curry won't knock seven bells out of him anyway. And then hopefully he'll go to York on the back of a disappointing run, and we can have our bollocks on him.
Good stuff.
As I say, for selection purposes, I'm all in with the blogger and the stallion, and the three of us will be on the Charlie all night.
Right, it's a dream composer for Michael Mick at the 4-1 mark for John. Me and Andy safer play Popmaster. That's about it, guys. I've enjoyed tonight's show. We're back on Sunday, me, John, and we're wheeling in the fry for a Sunday sermon. So for the Irish perspective. So it's me, John, and Catherine on Sunday. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's proceedings. Me, John, and Andy certainly have, and hopefully we'll give you a few winners. And hopefully we'll just do that. That's all from us. Bye for now.